صحيح نكاح مبارك نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك النكاح من سنتي.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers in Islam, and welcome to another episode of Happily Ever After. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us happy in this life and in the hereafter. Ameen. In the last episode, we just finished the 4x4, which is the 4-point of Istishara, Istikhara, Azman, Tawakkul, and we moved in and we said congratulations because you've been promoted from the singlehood to the hood, and we just started talking about the rules of engagement, which we're now going to go into details inshallah, and hopefully we'll also phase it into the wedding and so on, preparation. So you could be prepared and not it becomes a source of anxiety, it becomes a source of happiness inshallah. Ameen. So we say, Akhi and Ukhti, if we listen carefully, last episode we said you cannot be alone. We said the rules and regulations of the being engaged is that you have bids over the sister. That means nobody else come and ask for her hand in marriage at the time, or until one of you say, you know what, it's not working, thank you so much anyway, we have to move on. Somebody else can come in and ask for hand in marriage, but you have no rights whatsoever over the sister shar'i, Islamically. And we said, be careful please, we're being alone with the sister, because shaitan will be your third, according to hadith of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And again, wallahi, I've had enough, father and mother coming crying with their pregnant daughter into the office and asking for fatwas to get rid of the child and so on. Or when you see a sister, subhanAllah, with a brother, and I tell brother, hey, congratulations, akhi, alhamdulillah, you married? No, this is not your wife, but your sister maybe? No, your mother? You understand? We deal with these issues all the time. Unfortunately, our tradition, we allow certain things after we get married to do everything else we want, which is not the case, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Let us come back, inshallah, for who we are as Muslims and act accordingly. Walk the talk. Let's walk in the footsteps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, reading the fact of following Quran and Sunnah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among them. Ameen. So if that's the case, the brothers and sisters, about khalwa. So I have to define what khalwa is. What is the definition of khalwa? And the definition of khalwa is ائتمان الفجأة. ائتمان الفجأة means I will not change anything if someone suddenly walks in our conversation. For example, and I've alluded to it earlier on, so they think being khalwa, being physically alone with the brother and the sister. That's not the case. You can be alone together on the phone. You can be alone together on Skype. You can be alone together even on chatting or texting. So what is the measuring stick? The measuring stick, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, if you are talking to the brother or the sister and somebody walks in the door, let's pretend that your father walks in the door, and all of a sudden, as we mentioned before, you're talking to your fiancé now, you're saying, honey, I love you very much and I want to see what you're wearing tomorrow because I want to wear the same thing, and all of that stuff, and start going south with this conversation. And all of a sudden your father walks in and you say, Assalamu alaikum wa Muhammad, we're going to talk about tafsir in the next halaqah, in the tajweed inshallah. Who are you kidding, akhi? You already know, if you fear, subhanallah, if you fear your father, don't you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So are we going to fear the creation more than the creator? No. So we have to be conscious, because I know, wallahi, listen to me carefully. I know a sister asked for a divorce after marriage, because the brother was not very good and she wasn't good. So then after they've been practicing a bit, she could not respect her husband anymore because they used to do nasty stuff before marriage. May Allah protect us from that. Ameen. So let's start our life on the right foot and on the straight path. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us that. Because وَمَا بُنِيَ عَلَى بَاطِلٍ فَهُوَ بَاطِلٍ. If you build upon falsehood, it's falsehood. So why don't we please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Don't worry about people now. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on when it comes to marriages and weddings and so on, inshallah. So let's have our intention, Ya Allah, I am doing all of this to please you first and foremost. So let's not disobey Allah when He gives us a gift. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you, akhi, especially when He gives you the best thing in your life, the treasure of the life and the pleasure of this life, how you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How do you start thanking Allah, ukhti, for that righteous brother that you've been waiting for? Are we going to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is this how you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? هَلْ جَزَاءُ الْإِحْسَانِ إِلَّا الْإِحْسَانِ. Isn't kindness meant to be with kindness? Is it goodness meant to be with goodness? I understand tafsir ihsan in this dunya, meaning ihsan in the hereafter is Jannah. So let us work toward that. So let us keep in mind, I'm talking now as being practical examples. I don't want to start these series and talk about, here's what to do, what not to do. It is monotonous. You can open a book, you can read this stuff. But we're talking about aspects and issues, social issues, that are plaguing our ummah, plaguing our community and society. Day in, day out, we deal with these issues, so let's find out a solution for them. So we're based on solutions, inshallah, helping one another to be together in Jannah. So it is not, again, a matter of me right, you're wrong, and all of that. La wallahi. I respect learning from other mashayikh and other brothers and sisters. Even my own students, wallahi, I learn from them. So, alhamdulillah, alladhi bi ni'matihim salahat. By the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that good things are established. It's only by the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are able to do this. May Allah give us sincerity and ikhlas and accept from us. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. So now when we deal with these issues, we have to look for preventative measures. So how do you handle it? I want you to think, my dear brother in Islam and my dear sister in Islam, that Allahu muttali'un alay, Allahu nadhirun alay, Allahu ma'i. Again we repeat, Allah is with me, Allah sees me, Allah hears me, Allah watches over me. So I want you to imagine one thing. Imagine that whatever you see, hear, say is recorded. Your eyes are like camera lenses. Your ears and your mouth is your MP3, your recording, your hard drive. Your heart is your hard drive, your mind is your modem. Everything you talk about together is recorded. Everything you see of one another is downloaded. So, what's the problem? Well, you can remember, whatever you downloaded will be uploaded. Which means, I know you can download it on a DVD, but you can hide it from your parents. You can put it in the drawer. But on Judgment Day, it will be uploaded in front of your humanity. Will you be proud of that DVD? So why don't you be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you're alone, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for you for the rest of your life, inshallah. So that's the mission stick I give to the brothers and sisters in the engagement time and the engagement period. So, akhi, is it halal or haram? That's your measuring stick. Is it halal or haram? Is it lawful or unlawful? Now, ukhti, you remember when I told you earlier on, qawiyyun ameen, strong and trustworthy? This is the time, most of the time, you will know your brother is ameen or not, this brother is ameen or not. If he's looking in a certain way, if he's trying to tell you, come and let's do things alone, let's get rid of your chaperone and try to do something haram with you before marriage. Is he ameen, ukhti? He is not ameen. Reconsider. At least the brother should know that. Remind him of Allah. Tell him, yeah, I know that, please, let's please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this area, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless this marriage, that we will not displease him. So please make sure you do so. Let's do the right thing to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In that area it's difficult. So if with that area is difficult, I don't want you to prolong it, please. This is supposed to be a short khutbah, not a prolonged khutbah, because the longer you extend it, the more chances that you're going to go wrong. The more chances that things are going to go wrong. Waliyadu billah, may Allah protect you from that. This is just to mean that, you know, could this person be my friend? Do I get along with them? Okay, so we've done the 4x4, we've done all of that stuff, but practically now, do I get along with this person? Do we speak the same language? Are we on the same page? Do we have that much in common? Are we compatible, for example? Okay, so these are the reason for it. So what I recommend for you, akhi and ukhti, with having no khalwa, not being alone, as we talked about it before, is when you sit down, your mahram is there. Your mahram is a Muslim, aqil, baligh, so which means a Muslim that is a male, that is reached the age of puberty, that is sane. So you can't have your younger brother Tutu and tell him, here, he's like only 3 years old, here's some chocolate, sit down. No, we can't do that. It has to be your wali, inshallah, in that case, or a guardian that can be a protector at that case. So when you're speaking, you are going to be making sure that you are aware of this person. Not only that, so when you're speaking on the phone, you know, you have some time where you can discuss certain issues. But your guardian should be close by, but to see the facial, if there's a change of it. Or if you're talking about emails or texting, I want you to copy her wali, copy her guardian. That means there's no khalwa. Because emails exchange could be certain things. Even pictures exchange and all that stuff could be disastrous. Right? So please, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, when you talk to each other on the phone, wali should be close by, or if you want to put on the speaker phone, it's up to you. But you should not have that total seclusion where there's nobody else knows what's going on except you and him. That's not the case. Of course, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that first and foremost. So if you want to send an email, copy the wali, copy the guardian. If you want text, copy the guardian, and so on and so forth, inshallah. Okay, so we got some rules on engagement. Now, the sister is not supposed to put all the adornments and all the beauties, the perfume and all of that stuff. there is the difference of opinions among the scholars. It's an amanatul ilm. Now I have to be ameen with you. When it comes to the ilm, there are difference of opinion on scholars. Follow the one that you follow. Doesn't matter, inshallah, as long as it is your comfort in your heart. That's the stronger opinion or the stronger proof according to your own. By all means, feel free. So the difference of opinions among the scholars, it says that you have a ru'ya shar'iyya. Now I understand that some opinions that you should see her only once and so on, but some of the scholars says it's okay, you can see her as she is naturally in the house and they have their proof. And of course some others, they say, you know what, because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, did you see her? He says, no. He says, go back and see her. As a yu'dam bainakum, so you'll see of her that from her what drives you or assists you to make a decision to want to marry the sister. And also some of the narration says, ikhtabi laha, hide, which means that you're able to see her without her seeing you. So if that's the case, akhi, you can see her while she's passing by, going to work, going with her family, or going to the masjid and so on. And accordingly, you'll be able to see that's the case. Okay, so once that happens, alhamdulillah, I've seen the ru'ya shar'iyya now, I am comforted. But when do you do that? When I am 100% sure the 4x4 is done, the istikhara is done, after I talk to her, she's the one. There's nothing else there except the ru'ya shar'iyya. Now I can see her in the way that I've explained before, according to your own school of thought. With that, of course, we have a little bit of a break, but we will come back to you, inshallah, discussing what we can do after this. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to choose the righteous spouse for you. Ameen. Wa akhir da'wan. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallam ala alihi wa sahbihi wa tabi'een. Jazakumullah anna khaira. We'll see you after the break, inshallah. Please stick around.
نكاح مبارك.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulullah. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. And welcome back to the second half of this episode, continuing what we talked about before about the rules of engagement, what to do, what not to do. And now, alhamdulillah, we said that everything is going great. Alhamdulillah, you're comforted, you're happy, you get along. I can see future with this girl. I see the ru'ya shar'iyya with the presence of her guardian. And now, let's discuss the next phase. When we were talking about an engagement period, and we're discussing, arranging for the marriage, we're arranging for the wedding, we're arranging for all these things. May Allah help you. A lot of people and a lot of couples go home of stress in this one, but it should not be. It's a pleasant experience. It should not be the other way around. So let us go now discussing certain issues and discussing the etiquettes and matters of the wedding in itself. Also having understand of some of the rules and regulations and the etiquettes and matters that we should be able to carry ourselves and behave throughout this period, inshallah. So let us now discuss the wedding etiquettes on that. First of all, please do not procrastinate. The first thing I ask the couples, please have the time management. For example, have an agenda. Get yourself a notebook with the details of the dates, the weeks, and the month, and so on. Give yourself an ample time. Don't do a last minute. It will be a source of stress for you. Give yourself at least 6 months, whatever it is, whatever it takes. But if you have everything done, by all means, it's up to you. But I'm just telling you, please have enough time to manage it. So if that's the case, you got to lose the laziness, get off, and move on and do something. Number 2 is making sure that you share and delegate responsibilities. Because I don't want the brother to think that this wedding is something that he just has to show up for. No. He has to show compassion, and he has to show leadership also, and he has to show that I am going to help you, honey, in this matters and stuff like I'm going to help you in the house chores, which we will talk about a bit later on, inshallah, when it comes to rights and duties. So I want to make sure that we share these duties and not delegate the responsibilities and say, you know what, well, I have my strength in this, I'm not strong in this, could you help me out with that? And discuss these issues and delegate the responsibilities. Number 3 is document everything. Make sure you document everything to make sure to go back and cross-reference with one another. Number 4 is be flexible. So you didn't get the specific cake that you wanted, with the specific color that you wanted, with the specific garnish or whatever it is. So you didn't get the specific tux or whatever, the sherwal and kameez that you were waiting for, or it didn't come from Paris or whatever that may be, right? So you have to be flexible a bit. That may not be like my way or the highway. People don't know that. Just be happy with what you got. Build on the positive, not the negative, inshallah. Again, number 5, we can actually go into negotiation. Make sure that you also read the contract. Look at the fine print with everything else that they discuss with you, all the vendors, the venues, the food and the beverage and everything else. If you're going to have a halal entertainment or whatever it is that you may be. Now also document everything when we talked about, but I want it to be in organized matter. Okay, organize, organize, organize. That means I'm going to keep the receipts. I'm going to keep everything in mind just in case I want to cancel anything. I want to read the fine print. What happens if, barter with them, haggle with them. You may save yourself a little bit of money and time. Now the last thing I say, and again I say this because of practicality, wallahi. Okay, now sometimes marriages break up before even we get to the wedding itself. Allah help us, wallahi. This brother is adamant and this sister, says, you know what, my family is this. I'm giving you an option, okay? I don't tell you what to do. I'm giving you an option. You follow the way you think and you believe is stronger and comfortable in your heart. But just in case this thing is going to go berserk, I suggest if they both go in the right extremes, maybe you should consider you're right for each other, first of all. Now, of course, when we come to the food, for example, decisions, the brothers from the Middle East, the sisters from Asia or whatever it may be, okay, do we have a combination? You remember these things that you should be discussing. Is it hot only? Like I'm brown from the inside. Like I love this stuff. Biryani and nahari, mashallah, tabarakallah. Don't forget me, yani, sometimes. May Allah bless you, inshallah. So if that's the case, we agree. Well, I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. What do we agree on certain things? Do we go, please don't go extravagant. And I mean that, brothers and sisters. Remember, number one reason for divorce was what? It's financial. Don't start your life on a shaky foundation. For example, I get invited to weddings a lot and I perform them by the blessing of Allah because of my job. Sometimes I get invited to a couple and I see them, I go, oh, mashallah, Mubarak, congratulations. I get another invitation. Well, it's the same couple. Okay, they get another invitation. Surprisingly enough, it's the same couple. So I started asking, what's going on? How could you have all these events? Again, I don't mean to offend anybody, wallahi. I'm just talking Quran and Sunnah and how to save your marriage life, how to be practical within the umbrella of halal, inshallah. If the urf is yours, no problems, as long as you don't break your marriage in the process, that's all. But if you're having fun, you can afford it, by all means, feel free. But not to the extent that you're extravagant, that it's sinful. In the mudrina kanu ikhwana shayateen, the brethren of the shaitan. So I cannot be overly expensive when I know that my dear brothers and sisters in Islam are hungry or dying of hunger. Wallahi, I spend all this much money on a wedding that for one night I blow all the budget away and the rest I'm begging for the rest of my life. Subhanallah, how could that be? So we have to be practical, inshallah. And I know the sisters have this dream, the guy coming on a white horse, with a flower in his mouth, and the slow motion with the six-pack and the birds flying and the chirps and all of that stuff and the line of dancers in the back. Subhanallah. He's coming with a poem on the right-hand side, a box of chocolate on the left-hand side. Okay, so I got it. Well, I've seen it with my own eyes. The brother had to come in a white horse in the wedding night, and she had to come in a carriage with a feather pen. Subhanallah. Okay, it's halal, no problem, enjoy it, but not as long as it does not get you in trouble. That's all I'm saying. Please don't get me wrong. Okay, so this couple, I got invited to all these things. So I find out, first you have this something, forgive me if I slaughter this pronunciation. You have Mahindi, then you have Nikah Ni'mati, then you have Rukhsati, then you have bankruptcy. Subhanallah, what happened then? So you spend all this money and all this stuff, and all of a sudden, instead of like putting a down payment on a house, or you're saving for a business or investment that you can be rich for the rest of your life, you're blowing everything in one night just to impress people, subhanallah. So again, it's just an advice for you, akhi and ukhti, to do the right thing, be smart for your own, inshallah, future, to do the right thing. Something else regarding the marriages. A lot of marriages, it's like a fashion show. Again, I'm discussing these issues that may be a bit awkward or a bit sensitive, but again, hopefully with the intention of helping one another to do the right thing. So the sisters, they're decked out, they're wearing whatever it is, and they're dressed like that, and all of this stuff, and they put the perfume and the makeup, and they talk and they act in the behavior in the contradiction of the Islam. And subhanallah, may Allah help us, inshallah, and guide us back to the straight path. Ameen. And of course, what has been called the convertible hijab. Again, don't be offended, wallahi. Just listen with your heart, okay? The sisters have shawl on the shoulders, and the brother starts reciting the Quran in the beginning, and then all of a sudden the sisters take the shawl from the shoulders, it goes up to it covers their hair, and Allahu Akbar, mashallah, it's the miracle of the Quran, alhamdulillah, they became muhajjaba, Allahu Akbar. And the brother says, Sadaq Allahu al-Azim, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The hijab comes off. So is the hijab only for the time of that ukhti or not? So please, the reason I say this because I know some of the sisters are muhajjaba normally. I'm not talking about the sisters that are not. May Allah guide us all. And again, I don't kick anybody out of mercy of Allah. I thank you for being here and learning. Hopefully we can help one another to come back. No problems, inshallah. We never despair of Allah's mercy, and we never say, I'm better than this. La wallahi. I'm just saying, under that fact, because some of the sisters who actually they were getting married, their sister normally muhajjaba under normal circumstances. But on their wedding night, they take off their hijab. And that's another thing, ukhti, we have to address. Forgive me for being honest with you and straightforward. You may not like me now, but hopefully later on in the hereafter. So it's okay. I can take the heat, no problems in this life. But it's an amana. We have to relay onto ourselves and make sure that we follow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide this poor slave of Allah first, and guide my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Ameen ya Rabb. So we have that aspect of the wedding, that we have these issues that we can talk about from back and forth, but hopefully we can see what is right as right and follow it, and see what is as wrong and stay away from it. What I mean by that, ukhti, is that you're normally muhajjaba. And listen, on the day that everybody is going to see you, on the day that the picture, the videos, or whatever it is, that is going to be seen, the bad deeds for every non-mahram, for every man that can marry that sees you, that's another sin. Could you add how many of that, subhanallah, till Judgment Day? And subhanallah, when I go to visit some of the brothers in the home, even though the sister's muhajjaba, they put the